Under the same moon, we share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spreading peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine in each other's light. United we stand in love's pure might. Watching the world share in love and light. Peaceful flight, colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World. We have some excitement as far as what's happening in regards to boots on the ground for Karmelo Anthony. Now, a lot of people are saying there's not going to be any type of progress. They're going to say no, no, no. But already we have some progress. I want to bring in Remedy, boots on the ground. It's going to be a little loud, but this is actually on the ground. Thank you guys very much for tuning in.
Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo!
All right, what's happening?
Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! Look at the back of his shirt, man. He got Karmelo on the back of his shirt.
Oh, wow. That's big. So this is boots on the ground. Show us what's happening.
A lot of the same people that I saw when we first came up here, when we were up here for the trial, a lot of the same people came back. So the support is heavy, Mel. It's consistent. We have new people too, but a lot of the people that I met for the first time when I was up here protesting, they came back. They came ready. It was so emotional, Mel. Oh, everybody was crying from the very beginning when they showed Karmelo on the screen, when we got, feed to actually see him. Everybody was crying, saying Jesus, because they could see the chains on his waist and the cuffs on his arms. But his attorney, Ware, asked for the cuffs to be removed. The judge said he had no control over that, but the bailiff, if they wanted to allow it, they could, and they removed those cuffs from him. So, I want to say that is a sign for, change is going to come, man. They were removed once, they can be removed again. We have Nick at Night over here with the Black Panthers. We have a nice crowd out here. The people are so excited. We have our friend here, Winston. I don't know if you guys remember him from the viral video. He was the one that was arrested, but he's back. I'm glad to see he's back and unharmed. We have a lot of people. We have some of the protesters that were, with us.
Tell us,
so excited. They don't want to go home, Mel.
Tell us what happened with the recusal. Tell us what happened with the recusal.
All right, let me get my notes out. Give me my notes.
From Judge Roach. Tell us what happened.
All right, Mel. First, I want to say that the video went out, the feed went out, and everybody, was wondering what happened, what the world happened. We could just see on the screen, and now we can't see anymore.
Guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe.
They said that because the video was being shown in the courtroom, it couldn't be shown at the same time in the overflow room or something like that. But I found that interesting, Mel, because I don't know if you're familiar with, you should be familiar with, I'm not going to say I don't know, but Janetta Bradley and her wife, they were sitting right in front of me. And, I thought to ask her, hey, have you guys ever seen this video of Judge Roach? She said no, she hadn't ever. The wife said she hadn't gotten a chance to see it. Maybe Janetta had, but she couldn't see it. So that was, Mel, you have people who are listening to something, they can't even determine what it is because there's no picture. And then secondly, Mel, the audio was horrible. It sounded like someone had a cup over their mouth and was speaking through the cup. You couldn't hear it. It was so muffled. People were frustrated. We had one lady that was so frustrated she wanted to go to her car and just go sit in her car. And I told her, please don't leave. Don't leave. Don't go. I'm glad she didn't go because she got to see the victory in the end. She was crying, Mel. But to your question, what happened? All right, let me get to my notes because I took about first the security officer that was in the room with us. He said that this is not something that the court is required to do. This is first come first serve. He was basically laying the rules, saying that if you get up and you leave out of here without there being a break, then you won't be able to enter back into the courtroom until there is another break. I think you would find it interesting to know that the Tiffany Billions, yes, the Tiffany Billions that everyone has been speaking about, she got up and she said, we want to put this on record. I want everyone to know this is for the record. This rule that you are calling out, that you are stating, this is a rule that was also implemented in the proceeding before, but it was struck down. But you guys are now keeping the same rule. Everybody
Right.
found that interesting in the court mail. That's one of my first things. I took notes that the audio was not clear. It sounds like gurgling, sounds like someone put a cup over their mouth. You couldn't hear them. The
Give
TV
me,
above
give
us
me,
was.
give me 1 second, guys. For everybody that's, I got to mute you for 1 second. Everybody that's tuning in, we're covering Karmelo Anthony. The judge was recused in this case. A lot of people online, especially Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, oh, they're not going to recuse and this, and that. So already we're seeing some progress as far as Carmelo Anthony. So we're going to listen in to her explaining how the courtroom actually worked out today. Let's go.
Walking around 777. Yeah. Okay, Mel. The TV above us was not on, and people were inquiring about that. We were looking at one TV, um, but the TV above us was not on at first. I took notes. Carmelo was in a green jumpsuit. He was cuffed with chains around his waist. But Mel, he was smiling. And when he smiled, that made people cry even more, Mel. They said, oh, he's smiling. I'm telling you, it was so emotional in the overflow room itself, Mel. People were like, just to see him smile throughout this, I don't know what you want to call it, Mel, but even in the midst of all of this pain and this agony, that baby, he still had a smile on his face, and Mel, it made us happy. It made us joyful. Um, People were emotional at the sight of him crying real tears. I wrote that note. Kayla and Drew, his mom and dad, they sat diagonally behind him to the right. When we're looking at the screen, we could see them. So I took that note. They didn't look, too happy. They looked like they're stressed, Mel. They look, like they're tired. Um, Russell Wilson announced himself. Mike Ware announced himself. Justin Moore, I believe, as well. I wrote that whereas for the cuffs to be removed, they removed the cuffs. Um, Russell asked to publish the 18-minute video. And Worski, he was not happy about that. He was like, court has already read it. He doesn't see, the court has already read the transcripts. He does not see the need to show it, but he has no objections. And what do you know, Mel? When we're in there waiting for the
What's that?
video, boom, the freaking TV goes out. So we don't, you have him saying, I don't see the need to show it, and then the TV goes out. So what do you think the people in the overflow room were thinking, Mel? What do you think they were saying?
By design, by
By
design.
design. They said this was by design. This is done on purpose. They was like it was just fine until he went over there messing with it. But it's crazy that I took that note, and then boom, the TV goes out. So screen went out at
You're
9:18
amazing.
a.m. Yeah, the screen went out at 9:18 a.m. when the video of Roach was playing. And again, Mel, I told you I had people sitting in front of me, and I asked them, "Have you ever seen this video?" I said, "I know that you guys are audio experts, but can you hear what is going on? Can you hear what's being said?" She said, she said, it's muffled. It's pretty muffled. You have audio experts who are in here with their ears open because the TV is off, Mel. They can't make out what's being said, and she has not ever seen the video. So if you want to do something right, Mel, you do it right all the way around. Especially if you're given a second time to do it. That's what I think. Um, the gentleman messing with the TVs, they said that he was the IT, according to the security. Tiffany Billions asked if we were supposed to be able to see this on the TV. She stood up then and asked, are we supposed to be able to see this? I was, I was like, okay. Our people came today to take their notes. They're not playing. At 9:22 a.m. Okay, the TV went out at 9:18. 9:22 a.m. The TVs were still out, and we were still wondering what was going on. One of the other officers came in and said there was a problem with the cameras in the main courtroom, and this is why we weren't able to see it. Um, And then
Of
somebody else
course,
came
of
in and said
course.
that, yeah, the TV is out because the video is being shown in the main courtroom and cannot be shown in overflow at the same time or something like that. I documented audio sounds like someone speaking with a cup over their mouth. I think it's the second time I documented that mail because no one could hear. You even had people. Okay, so the ladies beside us, they were kind of whispering, talking to each other, and somebody in the back, the shh, shush them up because they're trying to hear mail, but it was just creating chaos, because people they can't see with their eyes, so now they're trying to listen with their ears, and we don't have good audio. We can't
Hmm.
make out what's being said. Um, okay, I know to hear that the wife of Janetta has never seen the video. That's what I just talked about. At 9:36, Mel, the TVs came back on, so that's 18 minutes. From when they went out, from the 18 minutes, because the video was 18 minutes long. Um, let's see, I got my twin right here. With the whole book. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
hold the
there's
book.
two of them. The's two of
Yeah,
them. Oh my. How
yeah,
did you
that's my right
duplicate
hand.
yourself?
Right hand. At 9:40, two more TVs came on. So then we got access to the TV to the left of us. That was a big screen. We got access to the TV that was in the far back. That would look like it would be back by the judge's chambers. And we got access to the TV that was to the far right above those people over there. But the one above us was still not on. I documented that this creates chaos because people were already here mail at 5 a.m.
Okay, so if you could go back to where you were, okay, so it seems like we're starting to lose her a little bit. It's so amazing to have boots on the ground. When she comes back on, I'll bring her back up. So, already in regards to Carmelo Anthony, there's some progress from the standpoint of the defense. Now, but even before Carmelo Anthony received his new attorney, remember Calvin Johnson had mentioned Russell Wilson as being the best appeal attorney that probably money can buy down in Texas, and he's doing it pro bono. So, what do you think about that, right? But what's so amazing about this, whether you agree with this case or not, with all the people online saying what's not going to happen, and guess what? It happens. Oh my goodness, what's happening with that, right? It's something to look at. It's something to behold, just to see that when the odds are against certain cases. Now, there's so much information in regards to this original case that I attended, right? I attended the entire trial. I heard all of the witnesses coming in from the standpoint of the prosecution. Okay, so I saw each of those teenagers come in. I saw Carmelo. He was sitting right in front of me, just shaking in court. He has epilepsy. So now to see the final verdict in regards to the case, but now there's an appeal with the Dream Team. And sometimes it's amazing just to watch and see how things develop, especially when the big crowd say, oh, no, there's not going to be any progress, right? You see how people operate. There's not going to be any. We have all the say so, but then you start to see something different, right? Now, we don't know how this is going to turn out, but it's definitely nice to see the people that are talking so much junk online. Already half of your theory of him not being recused has failed you, right? So again, I just wanted to stress that point because I see so much on social media, on my Facebook post, my Instagram post, my TikTok, all of these places. People don't want to hear what could happen in regards to this case. Let's bring back on our dear Remedy and her sister. All right, Remedy, you're there. You're on air. Go back.
I'm so sorry, Mel. My phone went out. Listen, while you were speaking, this gentleman in the black right here, he said this morning when Carmelo pulled up, they let him let the window down and wave at everybody. Man, he said it made him cry. It made him cry.
Mm.
This man, yeah, they actually let him let the window down and wave at people. So I see why he was smiling now. They said the purple made a difference. Everybody's out here in their purple. Well, most
So
people
tell us about the purple. Tell us about stay. Try to stay in that area because we don't
right
want you
here,
to lose down. Yeah.
yeah. The purple, they call for people to wear purple because they said that it's Carmelo's favorite color. So many people showed up, Mel, in their purple. They said the purple spoke. Look, we got somebody right here with purple on. Purple.
All right.
So many people
All
came.
right.
You even had
Ask ask her briefly what she think about the outcome today.
he said, "What do you think about the outcome
God,
today?"
I knew it was gonna happen. It deserved to happen. He need a fair trial.
Yeah.
Free Carmelo.
We met her Mel out here for the first time. We were out here protesting. She was one of the ladies that was out here with us, and I'm happy to see that she came back. Look,
I made all those signs.
yeah, she was out here helping us make signs, but she came back.
You guys are making
Well,
signs too? Okay, I
well,
see.
we made a few. We didn't. They're not with me because the first side of the house Mel got stuck in traffic, but we didn't bring them with us, but you did have people in the parking lot. One of the ladies that I met actually for the first time up here, she told me we were texting about her being up here. She told me she would be up here at 6 in the morning. If she couldn't get in, guess where she would be at, Mel? In
Where?
the parking lot with her people, baby. She's gonna be in the parking lot with her people. Even if she couldn't get inside, she's gonna be outside. So the support was amazing, Mel. It was a lot of it. And okay, I'm not gonna jump. I'm gonna say that to the last part. Let me finish telling y'all about my notes. Um, I said I documented that it creates chaos because people were already here at 5 a.m. and they were not able to get into the main courtroom mail. They were in the overflow room, and so with the overflow room being problematic, I feel like that's only going to create a rush for tomorrow. If the people were here at 5 a.m. and they weren't able to get in, what time do you think the people are going to want to be here tomorrow, especially being that we can't hear? Today was just the recusal, so it's not much that we needed to hear. But tomorrow, with the motion for new trial, everyone's gonna want to be tuned in. Man, they're gonna want to know what's being said in the overflow room. When Russell was talking, the people they said no outbursts and things, but people were still, it was still in agreement. If they disagreed, they were like, "What?" And if they agreed, they were like, "Come on, Russell, come on with it." But I said all that to say, Mel, they're in tune. They're interested, they're invested, and it's going to be a rush up here. I feel like tomorrow you might have people up here as early as 2 and 3 in the morning trying to get into the main courtroom because it's overflow. Room serves no justice, especially if they're going to be presenting exhibits and things that we want to see. You can't, if they're showing it at a certain time or something like videos and things, we can't see that in there. And the audio is horrible, so I don't plan on getting stuck in the overflow room again. I tell you that. Um, One of the things that Russell presented, he was presenting by PowerPoints. He was presenting by PowerPoints. One of the things that he said, Leo, was that with 3B10, a judge shall abstain from public comments about appending or impeding proceedings. Another thing that he pointed out was that 2 days after the verdict and the defendant's notice of appeal, and the court's appointment of counsel is when these statements were made by Judge Roach. So just 2 days after, and 28 days before the deadline to file a motion for a new trial. He said that violates basically Carmelo's Sixth Amendment. The motion for a new trial is because they feel like his Sixth Amendment right was violated. Oh, they highlighted one of the things that Judge Roach said in his interviews. If they wanted to see the trial, they could have stood in line.
Mm.
Man, I think a lot
I
of people
stood in
voted for
line.
it. Yeah, a lot of
I
people
was one
stood
of
in
those
line.
people. Yeah, I was there. I was there at 3 o'clock in the morning, waiting in line.
Yeah, they stood in line, Mel. So what are you saying? A lot of people stood in line. They weren't even able to be in. Um, we got some chatting going on back here.
All that for Carmelo Anthony, everybody. This is for
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony. People are cheering him on.
All right. So
Hold on 1 second, guys. Hit the like button, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Keep hitting the hearts if you don't mind to promote the channel. Thank you. We have boots on the ground. Let's go.
all right, man. So um, another thing that Roach said was I struck that balance pretty well. They highlighted that, um, statement that he made. They also highlighted him saying, I'm doing this interview with you to make sure that people understand how the system works. What is it that you want people to understand, or who are the people that you are trying to get to understand how the system works? That's the better question. Because if people are telling you, hey, we don't think the way that regulated this trial, we don't think the way that this trial unfolded or was conducted, we don't think it was fair, yet you go in and you make a broad statement and say, well, I feel like I did it right, and I'm showing you how it goes. That says a lot, man. That says a lot.
Yes.
Um, we asked someone to increase the volume. The IT guy, if he can increase the volume, he said that he could turn it up a little, but that was all that he could do. Again, you have people complaining about the volume there. I'm taking notes as I go through. Um, Before voir dire, May 16, 2025, they showed pictures side by side of the courtrooms. Before voir dire, you had all these chairs and so much space, and then after, let's see, it was less space and fewer seats. They pointed that out, Mel. People
Yeah,
were
I
like,
was
"What is
there. I
that?"
was there
Yeah,
for the trial. Yeah.
I said, "Would you look at that?" When asked about the overflow room and the audio, they highlighted that Judge Roach said, "What's the point?" That's one of the things they said. What's the point? What do you mean? What's the point? You have the public who are interested in this big story that you guys have promoted. They want to know what's going on with it. What's the point of the overflow? So people can see, so the public can see what's going on. So the public can gather the facts. If you guys are going to present facts and the public wants to know the facts, they don't want to just be going
So
around saying,
so so
oh,
let me just tell you this here. When I attended the trial, I was able to get in. I think I was number 6 in line the first day. But for the group of people that were trying to get in, there was like maybe 100 people that they thought they would go into the overflow, probably even more. And we learned that day they sent all those people home for the first day of the trial. So I was happy I was able to get into the main courtroom.
yeah, yeah, man, that's awful. And I don't know how many seats were in there. I didn't count the seats today, but there was some chaos because a lot of us were already over sitting on the benches outside the courtroom, and people kept asking the security, is there a certain procedure? Is there a protocol that we need to follow? Do we sign in? Do we need a number? All they could say was, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Then, Mel, when it gets close time to the trial, they're saying something about 60 people are only going to be allowed in. So now everybody's frantic. You got people standing up, making their own lines like, oh no, I was here first. Nobody's about to, get in front of me. It's just
Yeah.
chaotic, Mel. You would think that from the first time, you guys will have some type of organization in place for people when it comes to stuff like this. They're asking you questions. You say you don't know, and then it gets chaotic. It gets frantic. A lot of people were able to be in the overflow room. I didn't count the seats, but it just goes to show, Mel. They said these people are saying something about 60 people, and I know I was one of the 60, so I'm about to line up, and make my own line, and they
Right.
did.
Let me give everybody an update. I want to say shout out to Selena Charles. She just reached out to me. She's actually boots on the ground too. It's amazing to have her in the chat. Thank you. We invite you to come on when you can. Also, I just want to point out to everybody we have some progress in regards to Karmelo Anthony. A lot of people said, "Listen, these hearings are just a waste of time. They're not going to recuse Judge Roach. He's the man." And then also tomorrow, as far as the motion for a new trial. A lot of people say, oh, it's not going to happen. He's not getting an appeal, anything of the sort. But already today, there's progress. The Judge Roach has been recused. He has to sit down from this trial. So we're just bringing you boots on the ground coverage. We have more people planning to come on and talk about this today. Thank you. All right, talk
I
to
told
us.
them.
You
All right,
guys are
man.
amazing, by the way.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it. We think you are amazing. I've been following your channel for a long time. You are a man of accuracy. You're the man of the hour, the man for the
Man of the
moment, man
hour, I like
man
that.
to follow. Thank you. Got some people right here with me.
Put him.
Everybody's just so
Let's talk to him. I want to talk to them all. Put them
you
on.
want
Let's
to
talk to
Mel?
him.
Who wants to talk to him? If you guys want to talk, Mel wants to talk to you guys. God is amazing.
All right.
I'm live.
What,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts about the whole proceeding?
The proceeding went well. Defense definitely argued every objective that they needed to have argued. I also feel that the judge, he understood. Even in some of the understanding, you could see that he understood just based off of
some of his body language to let you know that yes, you are correct, yes, you are accurate. These are things that were unlawfully done. And then when it got to prosecution, it was just a whole bunch of riffraff, a whole bunch of aggression, and a whole bunch of anger towards the defense arguments before both sides rested. And of course, just because he wanted to get the last word because he feels that that's what he normally does. But at the end of the day, he probably got the last word, but God has the final say so.
Woo! Talk to the people. My God, look at there. All
That
right.
male, just to, secondhand what she said. Worst he did stand up, he was talking a bunch of gibberish, in my opinion. And if you could have seen the judge's demeanor, he was like, yeah, that, in so many words, he was like, yeah, nah, that's not what I'm here for.
Then you have the jury full of media, and they're looking like, okay, that's how you feel. He also mentioned some of the influencers and content creators that have been out in a negative way, and to say how they probably interfered with this proceeding, just based off of the content and everything that was going around on social media. But right is right, wrong is wrong. And clearly we were not the only ones that felt that way or even saw that. And today we got one part of what we were coming here for.
Yeah, I'm one of those content creators.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was speaking of you then.
All right, that's all good. I'm here for it.
Yeah, but he did, man. I took some notes from what he said too. But he got up after Russell was speaking. He got up saying, a bunch. I'll get to that because I don't want to jump. I don't want to jump ship, take it too fast. All right. So they also highlighted a statement where he said, "I got 70 seats in my courtroom, and I had 200 requests by the media." And they said that the interviewer had to say, "Well, wait a minute. The media is the public." So the interviewer basically had to correct him. They had that highlighted on the screen. Um, Canon 2A was introduced or brought up. It said promotes public confidence in integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. That was brought up. Also, Canon 3B10 was brought up as well, Mel, where it said the judge shall abstain from public comment about a pending or impeding proceeding.
Can you
At
can you
nine,
step away from that crowd? I hear people in the background. I'm sorry.
yeah, man, I can step away. I can do that for you. At 9:50, the upper TV came on above us, so we got access to that TV at about 9:50, Mel. Uh, they presented OP.209. Do not publicly debate or defend rulings or impartiality. That was something I want to say that they called out. That was a violation. OP 191. Do not comment on a matter that can still be revisited. That was called out. OP 95. Your job is to explain the procedure, but you do not discuss. I couldn't document all of that, Mail. I was trying to write as fast as I can, but you get, the drift. And
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
the two on the side were compared to that. Um, at 9:52, the screens went out again.
Oof.
Um, yeah, Russell stated that this is a murder trial with no retrial, so you should not be, basically making those statements or coming forward publicly, um, speaking in the way that you are, speaking in the manner that you are, Mel. It's a due process here, and you violated it. He said he also spoke about Roach talking about this issue on Facebook in the courtroom. The overflow room was like, they really got excited. Then they was like, "Tell it, Russell, come on with it." They were giving him praise, like, "All right." Um, Russell mentioned that the motion for a new trial um, is based on, again, the violation of Carmelo's Sixth Amendment rights. Also, he said that the law that was given to the jury was
Yeah.
incorrect. How about that? The instructions
Ooh.
that were given to the jury was incorrect. He highlighted that, Mel. Um, at this point, we are now at Worski when he gets up and starts to talking. So I'm going to tell you some of the things that he said. He said he led with this statement. Well, first of all, I don't trust PowerPoints. Remember, I said that Russell and his team, they were showing the exhibits and things on PowerPoints, or not the exhibits and things, but they're showing their argument on the PowerPoint. And then Worski goes, "I don't trust PowerPoints." Um, he also says, "I don't know if it's our job to defend Judge Roach or not, but if you ask me, or in my opinion, and I'm not, this is not quote unquote, but the first part is a quote. He said, "I don't know if it's our job to defend Judge Roach or not, but he didn't do anything wrong." This is what Worski is saying. Um, he said, in his opinion, Judge Roach talks about the notion of fairness, and he believes that is what he was trying to achieve. He said judges don't talk to media. That's what he said. He said judges don't talk to media. But you have Russell that has just pinpointed that, Roach has been speaking about this on Facebook, and he even went and did a public interview. You know, um, he also said that. Um, no, he said that.
Hey, Zoe.
I tell you, I took a note that Carmelo was writing. Our baby was taking notes this time as well, Mel. I don't know what he's put on that paper, but he was taking notes. Um, Worski said, "If you know Judge Roach, you know he will revisit this." Basically saying, "Hey, give him a second chance. If you know this guy, he's a fair guy. He'll revisit it. He'll listen to it again if he feels like he did something wrong." Yet, you did this interview. You hear the media. You hear all the chatter where people are saying what went wrong, what they feel went wrong with this trial, and you go and do a public interview to defend your actions and say,
Hmm.
"Well, I think I did it right." So, what are you talking about, Worski? What are you talking about? Um, He says that there was intentional misinformation that was put out, and he referred to the social media people. He says some of them are here today. He has
Hmm.
a very bright memory, Mel, for you to be able to point those people out today. He said some of them are here today. He said we've never seen anything like this, like we saw in this case. I guess he was speaking towards the he's trying to say the misinformation that was put out, and the the backlash and everything that was going on.
Hold on one
Um,
second. Let me get in a little bit.
okay.
So let me translate this for you. When you have people like myself there that are walking away competing with the mainstream media, not afraid to tell you what was actually said in court, see, that's what they're starting to realize. You have to have a different machine out here that's called Watching the World and other networks, that we don't try to distort the truth, but we actually bring out the facts. So now Worski has to deal with, who's this guy in the New York hat telling what was in court? You know what I mean? See, this is a different ball game. See, years before, all they had was CNN and Fox News just telling you what happened. It depends on who they favor. That's how the narrative goes. But actually, you have a lot of independent people. We covered Sean Diddy Combs. We covered Donald Trump. We covered Nolan Wells. We cover Carmelo Anthony. So now the public starts to hear a different narrative, a different story in regards to what's happening with these cases. Not only that, we have Remedy, right? On the ground, covering it, telling you the truth, speaking at a high level, talking about this case. We also get what the local people have to say. Usually, all you have is mainstream media, and they show you whatever they want that's in harmony with the narrative. Keep in mind, when I covered this case, as far as being in court every day with Carmelo Anthony sitting behind him, the judge actually chose which media outlets, 9, that could go in and actually talk about this case. They didn't have to stand in line with everybody else. They had free reign to cover the case, right? See, that's controlled media. They spin the narrative the way they want to. Sean Diddy Combs was the same way. Depending on the network that agreed with Sean Diddy Combs, the whole trial, they would only bring on people that hated Diddy. Oh, Diddy's a bad man, you see? A person that was objective like myself and saying, listen, he did a lot of bad, but guess what? The females are lying too. Oh, we don't want to hear from you, because we don't want people to know that there's two sides to this story. Luigi Mangione, the same way. They bring in people that are favorable or against Luigi Mangione. And I'm not in favor of what Luigi did. But when I come out and I say, listen, I saw 13 officers from Altoona, Pennsylvania take the stand. And guess what? They were lying. And the defense brought out that the officers were lying to Luigi. And some of them were distorting the truth on the stand. They say, oh, no, we don't want that getting out to the public. We don't like what this guy is saying. See, this is a new day now. And I simply go to court, take the notes, and then I come back and I tell you so you can hear both sides, okay, and come to a reasonable conclusion about what's happening in the world and not just being spoon fed like a baby, some old little nasty whatever, right? Okay. But you get a chance to hear a different side to the story that's not slanted. I try to be objective. Now, in the case of Karmelo Anthony, the reason why I took such a strong stand on it because I started to see what they're talking about now when I was in court. There's some riffraff in this system. Whether he did it or not, whether he deserves time or not, he still deserves a fair trial. Wouldn't you want that for yourself? And that's what we do. That's why we're having these discussions. All right. So today, there's some things turning around in regards to this case. There has to be a reason for that. Okay. A reason that I've been telling you guys for months on end in regards to Karmelo Anthony's case. All right, Remedy, you could have it back at it.
All right, Mel. Thank you for that. Um, I also want to say this. I know that it's been, disputed. It's been, debunked in a way about this evidence that was available for Carmelo, the
And one
video.
other thing, I'm sorry, one other thing I just want to say. And by the way, when I go to court, a lot of the officers of the court say, hey, we follow your channel, Watching the World. We hear what you say. So I know Worski, I know the judges, I know different people tune in to see what we're saying. Sometimes when the jurors are not being sequestered, well, quite frankly, I imagine they're following and looking at other people's channels too. That's just the nature of life. Everybody has their cell phone. Whether you want to see the news or not, depending on your settings, you'll get those little updates. So if you think the jurors are not tuning in to see what's being said in the media, I would like to challenge that point. Let's go. You got it.
Yeah, one thing that I was saying is I met someone new here today. Of course, I'm going through something with my son, and I was, talking to him about that. But he told me that he was one of the guys that was here before at the trial. Did he tell me he was here at 3 in the morning or something? But he wasn't allowed. Not this morning. Previously, at the previous trial, he wasn't allowed to be in. But of course, going back to what I was talking about, the evidence, the video that was presented, Mel, that created a lot of friction. A lot of people were saying that video is made up. That video is not real. You had people saying he was jumped. You had people saying he wasn't. You had people trying to make out what they can of this blurred video. This man that I've never seen him before. I've never seen him on anybody's interview or anything. He says to me,
What do you say?
he said, I saw the video 3 times. And I said, what video? Are you talking about? He said, no, they put that out. He said, I'm talking about the one where it actually happened. He said, they made it look like those boys were there at first, but they were not. He said, I'm telling you, I saw it 3 times. He said, Carmelo came under the tent and what's that boy's name? Eddie, the famous Eddie, the line Eddie. He stood with Carmelo and talked to him, chatted with him a little while, and told him, to come and sit down. He said that Carmelo wasn't even underneath that tent. He was at the back. He was towards the back, out of the way. And he said he had his head down in his phone mail. He was looking at his phone, and they came up there and jumped on him. This is what this man said, and I know it's been debunked. I know people are saying, that's not true. And you have other people are saying, well, I know what I saw. I know what I saw. I don't know what they put out, but I know what I saw. But I found that interesting that I sat beside this man today, and he tells me that I've never seen him on anyone's media or anything claiming that. But I just wanted to say that he said, he was giving me some pointers about my son, and he said he was I think the president of some juvenile something, so he knows how the system works when it comes to young boys, young black boys from the age of 10 all the way up. They try to get their hands on you. He said he knows how it works. He said, and he saw how they railroaded Carmelo with this. I just wanted to put that out, but I'm going to go back to my notes here, Mel. He said, one of the things that Worski said was, everything that was agreed upon was agreed by Mr. Anthony and his lawyers. Um, he said they wanted it this way. This is what he said. They wanted it done this
I
way.
want I want to I want to get a clarification. The guy that said he saw the video 3 times, was that a part of? hold on. Let me mute you because it's too loud. The guy who said that he saw the video 3 times, was that a part of the court proceedings, or is that someone you spoke to outside of court?
That's someone that I spoke to outside of court mail when I was sitting
Okay,
on
okay,
the bleachers, yeah, waiting to
okay.
go in. Everybody was just doing their own thing, talking, and he said it to me. And I'm telling you, it stunned me, Mel, because for a minute, just being honest, at first I was believing everyone that said the videos were out. I'm like, these people are not lying. But then when you have people to come behind them, they're saying, hey, we saw the video in court. This is what it was. This is what was made. This is what they presented. What you are describing sounds like what was shown in court. It kind of, swayed my opinion a little bit, Mel. I'm like, okay, well, it made me feel like those people could have possibly, I don't want to call them a lie because that's wrong, Mel. They saw what they saw. Nobody can tell
Hmm.
you what you saw. Nobody can tell you what you hear or what you thought you heard. But it made me kind of feel just buried. I'm not going to say feel like they were lying, but it made me buried and not paying attention to it. And when he said that to me, Mel, it struck me. Like, even though I've already heard this, it made me question myself. Like, you know, these people
Can
said
you
this all along.
can you move your location? We're having trouble hearing you again. Go closer to the courthouse if you can. Can you go to that next tree down? No, go further. Go down. Go down. Turn around. Turn around. Go down that way. Yeah. There you go.
Take this way
All
back to my
right.
house.
So yeah. All right. So I'm gonna give her a second to. Okay, I'm going to give her a second to relocate a little bit. I want to give you guys a little update as to what's happening here. We're covering the Karmelo Anthony case. We have individuals that are boots on the ground remedy. We have different people coming on today. Later in this afternoon around 5:30, I'm bringing on the gentleman that knew Nolan Wells out of Mississippi. So make sure you tune in today at 5:30. He says he cut Nolan Wells' hair. He's quite familiar with the family. He's worked out with the dad. He went on to Don Lemon and had a lot of trouble. So today, he told me this morning that he actually followed Watching the World. I said, man, that's amazing. So it'll be nice to have him come on to the show. I guess he picked up this channel a long time ago. A lot of people say that. So I guess this is very important to stay boots on the ground, stay covering these cases. So today at 5:30, make sure you tune in live. I'm going to ask him questions about the day, July the 4th. He lives in that town. He knows the people. He knows a lot when it comes to this case. So it'll be nice to get the perspective. Also, I'm actually going to Mississippi. I have a chance to sit down with him in person. I'll also have a chance to go to Horn Island and show you guys how the layout is. So all of this is going to be happening really fast. But today we have individuals that are at the courthouse for this hearing. As you know, I covered Karmelo Anthony's trial. Again, I sat behind him. I saw all of the witnesses. I know this case quite well. I look forward to having more people on throughout the day who were actually able to go into the courtroom and tell you what happened from the overflow and from the main courtroom. So stay tuned with us. We're going to be covering this at a high level today and tomorrow. It's very important for this case because as I sat through Karmelo Anthony's trial, whether he is guilty, I'm not here to talk about that. We know what the verdict was, right? I'm not here to even discuss how much time the man received, right? The young man received. What I want to tell you is that as I sat through the trial, and also I go to a lot of cases, Trump, Diddy, the way they shut down the access to the trial, it's very questionable. And also a lot of things that happen. I noticed that when I attended Carmelo Anthony's trial, there was just something where they wouldn't talk about the negative aspects of both sides. Why wouldn't they tell you what had occurred with the Metcalf boys, right? Later on, we find out there was some racial words being spray painted. Oh, wait, we didn't hear that. I said, I did not hear that in the trial. So why not? And then I told you as I sat in the trial, I felt like the defense was not fighting for their Carmelo. When I covered Sean Diddy Combs, Mark Agnifilo, individual that I know quite well, also my good friend Brian Steele now, he was there fighting for Diddy. And I mean, I saw Mark Agnifilo crying. I saw Diddy's attorney, Westmoreland, she cried for Diddy. Can you imagine two of the attorneys were crying for their client. But when I went to Karmelo's case, guess what? These attorneys were asleep at the wheel. And I said, why? And then I would come back and tell you guys something don't seem right. So then I brought on Calvin Johnson, and Calvin says, yeah, there's a gentleman's deal. What's a gentleman's deal? And then we started to realize, right? Then Michael Howard came out after the fact and said, listen, I represented Karmelo Anthony, and I had a gentleman's deal with Worski. In other words, we shake hands. I'm not going to tell them about the bad that your clients did, the Metcalf boys. We're not going to know what they did and what they're capable of doing. And you don't get a chance to talk about what Karmelo did. You just have to focus on the murder. Okay. So now you start to realize, like, listen, wait a minute. You mean to tell me we have gentlemen's deals in court? It's like a silent deal where we're going to shake hands that's off the record. Now, this gentleman deal that happened that I saw, but I couldn't really put my hands on it until I laid it out to Calvin Johnson and Candace Kelly. And I started to realize, oh, okay, so this is why we're not hearing about what the Metcalf did, right? This is why certain aspects of the case seem to be weird. So what does this mean for all the people in this country and around the world that are not aware of a gentleman's deal, but it happens? So this gentleman's deal was profitable for the prosecution from day one. It was never profitable for Karmelo. Then on top of that, when it came down to the deal and to the case, they said, oh, I don't know anything about a deal. You see what I'm saying? So that's like getting the old adage, cut your legs off and call you short. There's no way to win. That's not being fair. So now you're starting to see things start to change in regards to this case. They had the judge, Roach, who after the trial, he went and he gave his interview. He sat there in his suit and he says, yeah, this case was perfect. And yeah, you heard what he said for all those minutes. Well, guess what? Now he's off the case. And this was his biggest case. He told you this in the interview. This was his biggest case of the year, the last one for him. And guess what? They having him sit down. Yeah, recused him, right? And then tomorrow they're going to ask for a new trial. And on top of that, you have Russell Wilson. I've been telling everybody, Russell Wilson, whether you want to hear it or not, he teaches appeals. That's what he does. He teaches appeals. So if there's anybody that could get this guy an appeal, here's the argument from Russell Wilson, okay? One of the main arguments is access to the trial. And I actually attended the trial myself. I had to go out there and stand in the dark, 3:00 in the morning. Some mornings I was the first one there, out there in my car, waiting on side the road to get into the courthouse just to tell you guys what's happening. There was a car accident one morning because people are trying to get into the courthouse. They had shut down the entire parking lot. So the rule was that if you had a press pass, you could get in, I believe, at around 4:30. I had a press pass, so I was able to get in. Okay. Also, for the regular public, they had it where you couldn't get in until 6 a.m. in the morning. So you know what people started to do? They started to go down the street and park at the church. And they would walk up and line up side the road, just trying to be one of the 27 people to get inside the courtroom. Okay. So one morning, the second day of the trial, when I arrived there, I got there nice and early. You know what the police officer told me, right? I was able to get in at 4:30 and park my car. And then we had a line for the media. And then there was a second line for 6 a.m. in the morning, right? You know what she said? She says at 6:00, that same stop sign that's near the courthouse where you guys stood yesterday and lined up, she says, you're going to have to all run down there. And you know what happened at 6? I was in an advanced line that developed for the 4:30 media. And then behind us at the road, there were the people that lined up for 6 a.m. As I'm trying to walk down with the group in a single file line, okay, righteously, you heard all of the people that had lined up, probably a good 50, 60 people. They started all running. It was raining out. I saw one person that's actually here today in the chat. I don't want to say it without her saying it. She had to take off her high heels and run barefoot to the stop sign. And I said, "What are we doing here? You can't run in public and somebody fall on the courthouse grounds." And the police told us to run like wild animals. And then they were taking pictures of us. They were taking pictures of us, and some of the officers were laughing. Look at them go. What are we doing in Texas? Yeah, real talk. See, this is the type of news they don't want you to hear, but this is what we experienced. Now, I had to, because people had ran past me, I had to say, "Oh, I'm getting my place in line." And I went to the front of the line. It is what it is. I stood out there from 3 o'clock in the morning, and you mean to tell me I'm not going to be able to get into the main courtroom? But this is how serious it is. Here in New York, when I covered Sean Diddy Combs, I had a line sitter because I live in New York. It cost me $200 a night for 9 weeks to pay a line sitter so I could attend Sean Diddy Combs and be first in line and also be in the main courtroom sitting behind Diddy, being able to tell you guys about these cases. The same thing with Donald Trump. I had to pay someone to stay out there all night. Then I would show up in my suit and my baseball cap and go into the courtroom. That's what the mainstream media does, but the company pays for it, right? I didn't have that luxury. I had to pay for it myself. I'm going to bring back on Remedy, but I'm just trying to help you guys to understand this is one of the main claims in regards to Karmelo Anthony, because as I said before, I was one of the 27 each day to be able to get into Carmelo's real trial. I sat right behind him. Okay. On the days where all of those kids came in and they testified, it was the second day of the trial. They were like 16, some of them 18, 19 years old. I sat on the back row that day, and I just so happened to sit where the courtroom detective sits, and each parent would come in and sit beside me. So not only did I get to hear the child testify, I had a chance to sit beside the parent, and I said, "Okay, this mother is a nurse." Okay, because they came in with their work clothes. Another one came in. I said, "Oh, she's a beautician." Okay, so I started to gather what was happening in the Carmelo Anthony. I never really realized that this would probably be the most important case that I've covered over Donald Trump and Sean Diddy Combs. Carmelo Anthony probably, now Nolan's case, if it goes to trial, if something materialized, that might give Carmelo a run for his money, because I've never seen such a case where people are starting to unite behind Nolan Wells and Carmelo Anthony. It's the weirdest thing. It actually woke people up. And that's all I'm going to say about it, right? So, as far as Russell Wilson, the argument is, in some cases, have been turned around in Texas because people were not able to attend. That's a part of your rights, is for individuals to be able to attend your trial. The public has to be able to have access, right? Because see, that's the whole theory. We don't want people doing things behind closed doors, and all of a sudden you get railroaded. Wouldn't you want that privilege to be able to have the public come in? And see, that's what happened in the case of Carmelo. And that's why today the judge has been recused, because you have people like myself and people from the public saying, "Keith Sweat, something, 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 something just ain't right." Okay. So there you have it. Whether you like to hear it or not, I'm just here to tell you the truth about what's happening in court. You have to come to your own conclusion, right? I'm not going to debate with people about certain facts because I have my notes, right? And also I watched the video in court. I saw a lot of things, right? So it's very hard for me to just go with things that you see floating around on TikTok. And we see this with Nolan Wells the same, right? So let's bring back on Remedy to talk about more about what occurred today in court. She's right there at the courthouse now, and she's about to break down to us what really happened as the announcement came through. "Judge Roach, you have been recused. You're fired." Okay, let's go. Let's see if we can get you back up. I'm not sure what the issue is, Remedy. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Let's go. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, good. Good deal. Everybody's pretty much leaving now, but I'm glad to hear that you touch bases on the gentleman's agreement because that's actually the part that I left off on, where it came out where it was mysterious, right? Nobody knew about the gentleman's agreement. The judge even acted like he didn't have to honor that deal. Yet you have Worski. This is what he says, Mel. Everything was agreed upon by Mr. Anthony and his lawyers. They wanted it this way, and I beg to differ. You can't tell me that that child wanted his trial to go in a way where it would bury his innocence. There's no way, Mel. He didn't agree for you to bury his innocence. You know, so that's something for you to say. He also said something about skunks being at the courthouse at the previous hearing. He said like someone had placed a skunk out here in the courthouse or something. I don't know, to intimidate the judge or something. I don't know, something like that. He mentioned it. Referring back to he's never seen such things like this that happened with this case. And then the last thing, one of the last things that he followed up with, Mel, he said that it was just too bitter of a pill to swallow, in his opinion. He felt like basically the people are complaining because it's too bitter of a pill to swallow. And to that, Mel, I say I don't like swallowing bitter pills either. I'm not sure if I know anybody that likes to swallow bitter pills, but that was the way he framed it. Russell stood up after.
Give him, give him a little sugar.
Yeah, Mel. Nobody likes to swallow bitter pills, okay? I don't care how good it is for you. If you find somebody that likes to swallow them, you let me know. All right?
All right.
So,
Very good.
all right. Russell got up and he
Give
said,
me
there is.
1 second. 1 second. Guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be covering this for the next 2 days. Also, we're mixing in Nolan Wells. We have to stay on top of Nolan Wells every day. I made that commitment until we figure out what happened to Nolan. So these cases are very important, and I don't care what comes through. I'm not backing down one bit from talking about either case, right? You have to take the bitter with the sweet. And in this case, I find these cases to be of utter importance. So let's just get that straight. Okay, keep going. Let's go, Remedy.
So Russell stood up and Russell, basically debunked what Worski was saying. He said there is nothing in the record that is written, verbal or signed, that says the lawyers or Anthony wanted the trial this way. So basically, he was saying, well, where's the written statement that says they wanted it this way? Where's the written proof? We need a document or something signed, right? To say that they wanted it this way. Well, Bursky stands up while Russell is speaking. This man is speaking and he stands up. He's so hot in his pants, Mel. He can't sit down. He got to stand up with his hand in his pocket. He's waiting to speak while Russell is speaking. And then Worski says there is plenty of documentation in the redacted record to support the agreement. I found that quite interesting, Mel, because
Mm.
they try to make like these people are just making things up about this gentleman's deal. The judge said he didn't, he wasn't he didn't have to enforce it. There's no document, nothing legal that was binding that agreement, right, Mel? This is what they were trying to put it as with the previous thing. Now you come out and you say, well, there is plenty of documentation in the redacted record to support the agreement. So I would love to
Wow.
see that, Mel. Yeah,
Okay.
I would love
Thank
to see
you.
that.
Thank you very much. We're losing you a little bit because you're driving, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
And
when you get to your location, I'll bring you back up. Is that okay?
that's fine, Mel. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you. Just sit tight. Make sure you stay in the chat with me. All right.
All right, got it.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So I want to address grave diggers. Okay. It's very clear. Now, I get what somebody said randomly in the parking lot at the courthouse, but I've shown it so many times that Carmelo Anthony came into the tent after the twins. And I hate it when people spread misinformation, not about remedy to the sort, but we cannot have people spreading misinformation. So I will go through this again really quickly in the long video. And now I really shouldn't have to do this, but I'm going to take a few moments and really break down this case since we're covering Karmelo Anthony. I'm going to try to find the actual long video so I could just break it down quickly and show you that Karmelo Anthony was actually, he came into the tent after the other guys. So that's something that we're going to cover here too. I have some other individuals that are going to be coming up today too, so we're going to look forward to that as well. But we have so much to think about in regards to this case. You just have to wonder why on earth did the judge get recused? I want you guys to put in the chat, why do you think he was recused in regards to this case? Tell us in the chat right now. Do you think it was a good thing? You think it was a bad thing? Either way, we want to know. We want to hear from you because this is very important, especially in regards to, I'm trying to find this video so I could show you guys really quickly. I think I have it here, so just bear with me. I'm going to show you some different aspects of it since we're covering this case. Also, we're going to be bringing back up remedy as well. And again, today we're going to have a person from actually Mississippi that's we can refer to in regards to Nolan Wells case today. Guys, give me a second. I'm hoping I could actually find this video. I haven't been covering it in a while, so it might take me a minute to find it. But at any rate, we're going to keep covering all of this. And also, again, it's very important that you guys hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to find something for you. If not, we'll have to, perhaps I'll pull it up and go over this at a different time. All right, but I'm trying to find the video for you guys that lays it out. So for those of you that are just coming in, we're covering the Karmelo Anthony case. Today, remedy was in court and many others in regards to the recusal of Judge Roach. Now, as I've said before, I covered the Karmelo Anthony case. Let me see if this is the video. Give me 1 second, guys. I have to see something here. Bear with me for 1 second. Let's see if this,
you can think what you want. Was it appropriate? And
nope, that's not it either. So just give me a moment. I'm going to try to find this video for you. But at any rate, Karmelo Anthony came in after the twins. And in order to really understand what happened that day, we have to keep the facts on the table. So if I can't pull it up now, I'm trying to find the entire video, the sequence of what happened in regards to this case. So just bear with me. If not, we'll do this a different time. So let me see if I could find the video for you. Okay, Karmelo Anthony. Let's see if I could find it really quickly here. And again, if I can't find it, we'll address this later. Just to dispel a lot of the false information that's going around in regards to the case. I thought we were over it, but there are some people that are still stuck trying to make that claim. So let's see here. Karmelo Anthony footage. Okay, let's see if I could just find it here. Okay, all right. I don't think I'll be able to find it right now. All right, so we're going to keep moving. I noticed someone just gave a super chat. What I'll do is later when I come back on, I'll give you guys a breakdown in regards to, we're going to take a look at the long video. I think it's an 18-minute video that actually shows how everybody entered the tent that day. And again, if you follow this channel on a regular basis, I'm pretty sure you've seen me break it down 1,000 times. But I think today is a good time to actually break things down. Since we have individuals boots on the ground at the courthouse, I'm going to try one more thing here before we move on. I want to see if I could find this here. Okay, I don't think we have it. Karmelo Anthony. Let's see. All right, let's see here. All right, so I'm going to pull up the entire video a little bit later. Let's take a moment. I want to go through some of the comments. Guys, please bear with me. I see a lot of people have been participating. We also have Shadow says the implied bias. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Seeking Truth says, I don't base decisions on race. Clearly you do. Based on the case, justice was served. like I asked you earlier, would you have some thoughts if races were reversed and was your child? Okay. All right. So we have a discussion going in regards to that. She who must be obeyed says, I love your analysis of the Tristan story. Okay. Debunking those lies. That was brilliant, Mel. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Okay. Okay. Susie says the judge have violated a young man's rights. I'm glad it happened. Just the beginning, but the truth will come out. Okay. Well, it looks like there may be some opportunity for a change in regards, at least already today, in regards to these 2 days of hearings back to back. There's already some progress. Okay. Murray says he was too close to the Metcalf family and the TV interview. Okay. All right, you're talking about the judge. All right, thank you for that. Sophie says like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys very much for all the support. All right, Queen says someone that was there said Judge Roach couldn't be fair. All right, so maybe, actually that's off the table now because Judge Roach has been removed. All right, and they were actually celebrating today. When we have Remedy come back up, I want her to explain to you how in the courtroom, people were actually in the overflow. There was a sort of an outburst in regards to people happy about this matter. Okay. And we have Frank Shelton says Karmelo was first in that tent. Okay. So there's another one that's has the information backwards. Okay. Gold Digger says because Karmelo's Sixth Amendment right, okay, the trial is held openly so that the public and the media can attend, okay, and hear the proceedings. Thank you, Gold Digger, for all you do for supporting the channel too. Okay, we have Deborah. Okay, yes, we're at it today. Deborah, yes, indeed. Free Thinker says, hello, Mel, watchers, and panelists. Okay, thank you very much. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. And then we're going to be right back. I'm going to see if I can pull up this information for you. So bear with me as we play our theme song in regards to this channel. And let's see if I can dig up this video for you really quickly.
Watching from the window as the rain begins to fall. Different streets, but we're walking through it all. You carry your story and I carry mine, but the weight feels the same when we stand in line. And I know we don't look the same, but I hear you calling my name, standing together, watching the world go around. Together, we won't let it tear us down. Your hands know a language mine never learned, but the fire inside us both still burns. Different colors painted on the same old sky. Every shade is beautiful if you just look twice. And I know we don't sound the same, but I feel you calling my name, standing together, watching the world go around. Standing together, we won't let it tear us down. Standing together, our differences keep us strong. Standing together, this is where we belong. Nobody said it would be easy to see through another man's eyes, but the love that we keep building is worth every compromise. together, watch the world go round. Stand together, we won't let it tear us down. Standing together, our differences keep us strong. Standing together, this is where we belong.
All right, guys. So we're back. We're covering Karmelo Anthony, boots on the ground at the courthouse today. For those of you that are just coming in, Karmelo Anthony was back in court for 2 hearings. As Remedy expressed, today he was hauled in. He was chained, and many people were quite concerned because, as you know, many people are following Karmelo Anthony's case, very closely because they often see perhaps their relatives. They know of individuals who have gone to trial. Now, we do know that with all the people that are incarcerated in the United States and throughout the world, obviously, not everybody is innocent. We get that, right? But that's the whole point of a trial, to make a determination if a person is guilty, innocent, right? But in many cases, when people hear that a trial was not fair, they start to pay close attention because if it could happen to one person, it could happen to many. And so that's why today at the courthouse, there were so many people there speaking up in regards to Karmelo Anthony. Remedy said that when the verdict came down, the decision was made that Judge Roach would be removed. There was an outburst in the audience, right? That tells you a lot. Now, when you look at the large scope of people throughout the United States that might be familiar with this case, you will have a certain abundance of people that say, oh, he's just guilty. And that's just a matter of fact. Okay. And quite frankly, we're not here to talk about that today. The verdict came through, and he also, within 24 hours, received 35 years. And he also had a haircut. Remember, they cut his hair off. Many people feel like that was also a message to the crowd, right? That was a message to the crowd. Well, that message has been taken very seriously because a lot of people have started to respond about Karmelo Anthony and saying, listen, we're going to take time off. We're going to travel. We're going to do whatever it takes to be able to show up and discuss this trial, and also to push back and try to bring about some difference in regards to what happened here. Tomorrow's court day, the hearing will be in regards to whether or not he gets a new trial. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if you think he should receive a new trial. Put a 2 if you disagree. Put a 3 if you're not even familiar with this case at all. Let's see what you guys have to say about that. And then we're going to bring up a guest who is boots on the ground today, too. High heels on the ground, Selena Charles. I covered the Karmelo Anthony trial, had a chance to sit with her in court. We covered the actual trial. And in fact, we met at this trial. And ever since, we've been covering this trial, but also many other cases. In fact, when she comes up, maybe she'll get a chance to tell us about her work and some of the other cases that she covers at a very high level. She does a magnificent job. This is a new day when we have people that are sacrificing their time and energy to really bring more light to these cases. Let's welcome up Selena. Selena, are you there? Okay, maybe she stepped away for a minute, so we'll remove her for a second. While we're waiting for her to come up, okay, I think you're there now. You ready? Okay, so we're going to bring up Selena Charles now to talk about today in court for Karmelo Anthony. All right, how
Hi,
are you?
Mel. I'm fine. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. I'm hanging in there.
Mel, I'm excited. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed.
Oh, that's amazing. Tyler, we're having a little trouble hearing you. I
Yes.
don't,
Can you give me a moment and bring me back up in like
yeah.
5 minutes?
When I see you again, I'll bring you back up.
Okay,
We want to
great.
hear we
Thank you.
want to hear everything you're saying. Thank you. All right. So Selena's gonna be up. She covers a lot of cases. Recently, she's covered so much in regards to Nolan Wells. I think one day she was out in Chicago, another day she's in a different state. But all of these cases are very important to bring more awareness, right? Right. In fact, I could ask each and every one of you, have you taken any steps to make a difference in regards to cases or whatever it is you're passionate about in life, right? Do you feel the need to not only fight for yourself in life, but also to reach out and try to help someone else? I think it's all very important. We're going to get to some of the questions before we bring Selena back up to hear what she had to say in regards to court today. She who must be obeyed says, I love your analysis of Trish. Okay, thank you. I think I covered that. Let me go down and find some new ones. Okay, let's see. She says, Roach was stupid. He should have recused himself. Well, he's off the table now. So thank you, though, for that. Joe Butter says, there's no rescue of a trial judge when appellate court hears an appeal. Okay, it's always a different judge. Okay, so no recusal. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, we have Matt says, dirty judge, fix the cases with Mike and Toby Shook. Okay, thank you for giving us your information in regards to that. Okay, Sophie says, judge, remove. God is good. Sophie's has been following these cases too. Thank you very much for all you do. I really do appreciate it. Okay. Let's see. Matt says, I was the first person to tell Mel that Mike was the fix. I remember that, Matt. I remember that distinctly when you said that. In fact, I think I highlighted it. Elizabeth, good to see you today, covering Karmelo Anthony. It's amazing to see all the people that are interested in this particular case. It says, Mel, I feel the child needs to be moved out of McKinney, even if just to downtown Dallas. That's a good point. That's a really good point, Elizabeth. Always great hearing from you. Jazzy J says, love the theme song, by the way. Okay, thank you. That's a new one we added on. Thank you very much. Joe says everyone has the right to exhaust appeals. There is no recusal of a trial judge. People truly need to learn how court works. Okay. All right. Thank you, Joe, for your information. We're going to have Calvin Johnson talk about that at a higher level because he's an attorney. All right. So thank you. Let's see. Sophie says, standing together, it makes a difference. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So a lot of people are talking about the song. All right. So for those of you that are just coming in, I see the number just bumped up. Oh, we have JC Talks here. Says, grooving on my lunch break. I hope you enjoy that song. I find it amazing. For those of you that are just coming in, we're covering Karmelo Anthony in court today as far as the recusal of Judge Roach. Any way you cut it or slice it, he is recused. Okay, that was granted. All right. Any way you want to process it, that's fine. All right. So thank you very much. Remedy says, we're only on break. Okay. He's looking for something. Okay. Thank you for that. So we have more coverage. That's good. Let's see here. Joe says all appeals are held to a higher court, aka heard by another judge. Okay. All right. What does that mean? That means Roach is out of here. All right. So thank you, Zoe, for your continued support as well. All right. Sophie says that me and my dogs are dancing, but that's a good thought. Thank you very much for that. She says like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, we're waiting for Selena Charles to come up. She was actually in court today, so she's going to expound and tell us more of her perspective as to what she saw and heard while attending the proceedings today in court. I want you guys to keep in mind that today at 5:30, I have a gentleman coming on that actually lives down in Mississippi, right by Horn Island. He actually knows Nolan's family. He says that he knew Nolan too, so we get a chance to try to understand what he thinks about this entire case of Nolan Wells. So we just want to put that out there. For those of you that want to tune in today at 5:30, it's going to be a live show. And the questions that I'll ask are going to be, I think, good questions in understanding Nolan Wells' case. All right. She who must be obeyed says, were Carmelo's parents there? All right. We're going to leave that question for Selena when she comes on. I'll make sure I star that so you get a chance to get an answer from Selena. Okay. Grave Digger says this trial needs to be public. Okay. I can agree with that. All right. Jeff says, Sophie's great to see you. That's more of a personal note. Okay. Thank you very much for that. All right. Let's see. Let's see here. We have Gold. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we have Selena. She's back now. We're going to get started with her as she explained to us what she observed in court today. So we welcome Selena to the stage. How are you?
Hi, Mel. I'm fine. Thank you for
Oh,
having
that's much better. Nice to have you.
me. Thank you. Um, Today was beautiful. Of course, I was the first one in line this morning. Um, when
Amazing.
we, yes, um, when we first got in, um, they let media go in, but it seems as if the media that they let in, it was the same media that they picked
Oh,
the
okay.
last time. Yeah. So I kind of was a little upset about that because I called about a
Right.
month ago and I tried to get in and I left a voicemail and nobody responded back to me. Nobody even contacted me back. So, well, the interesting parts that I enjoyed about everything today was whenever the dream team walked out and everybody started chanting in the hallway. It was beautiful. It was amazing to where one of the officers did, ask everyone to be quiet, kind of settle down because there was court going on in other rooms. And then the officer walked up to me and he asked me to, he told me that I seem to have an influence on people and that I should tell them to not say anything when the victim come out and the victim family. And he said that he didn't want to put anyone out or whatever. But when Mr. Metcalf came out, he was looking at the group of people that were in the hallway and he was laughing, like antagonizing. Um, so then he ended up going into the courtroom. We ended up going in, we ended up sitting down. And Russell presented, his evidence basically. And I feel like Russell did a really, really good job. He spoke about the interview that Judge Roche did. It was like an 18-minute video or something. He played that and he stated something about, I want to say it was canon. I don't have my notes with me, but I want to say he said something about canon. I can't remember the canons. I think it was 3B or something. I can't remember. But he spoke about the canons. He basically spoke about law, which laws he feel like Judge Roach violated or whatever. And at first, whenever I heard the judge say that he didn't believe that Judge Roach wouldn't be fair, that he believed that Judge Roach would be fair, I really thought that he was gonna not grant the recusal when he said that.
Wow.
But yes, but then he came back and he said that he was granting a recusal, and I believe that he granted the recusal because everything that Russell um, you know presented to the courts was law. And Worski, he was kind of asleep, but Worski, when he started speaking, it was like a bunch of gibberish. Like I really didn't even pay attention to what he was saying because it sounded like he was speaking off emotion instead of actually speaking off a law. So when the judge said that he was going to grant the recusal, And everybody got up, not even halfway out the courtroom. You could hear everybody chanting, screaming, happy, excited. It was beautiful.
Wow.
Yes. And I sat right behind Drew and I sat behind the wife. Um, we were like basically right behind Carmelo. But this, remember where we sat the last time?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't, we wasn't there today. It was like we was on the side where the Carmelo's family was.
Oh, they switched it around.
Yes. Yes. And when Carmelo came out, he looked it he looked it good. Like, his hair, you remember he had the low cut. Well, his hair, like he has a full head of hair.
Oh,
His
okay.
Yes, his hair has grown back. He actually looked like he has filled up a little more, like he looks a little fuller. Um one of the requests that Russell them requested was, for them to actually remove the shackles off of him, because when they bought him in with the shackles. And Worski, he didn't object to it, and the judge said, it wasn't up to him; it was up to the officer if the officer wanted to. So the officer did remove the shackles from him. Today, Carmelo, he didn't really look back or look around. Now you remember before, he would kind of look and be very observant of what was going on behind him.
Right.
But today he didn't look back. I think he, like, when he came in and I could see his face, it looked like he was just concerned about what was going to happen today. One thing I did notice, he watched that interview with Judge Roach. He paid attention to that laptop whenever Russell was playing that. Um, but for the most part, I went there for a recusal to be granted, and that's what happened. And I'm excited. I'm overjoyed. You know, so today is Nolan's 19th birthday. So like this is the best information on today for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard people actually chanting too in regards to Nolan, happy birthday to her.
Yeah, we did that. Everybody stood together in a group in front of the courthouse. We said happy birthday to Nolan. And of course, we chanted, justice for Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
What was your take as far as the attorneys this time around? Because, when we sat through the trial, we were able to detect a lot about the judge and the attorneys.
mhm. The attorneys on which side? The prosecutor?
Prosecution, yeah.
Well, again, Worski was sleeping. One thing I didn't like was like he attacked the content creators.
Tell us about it.
He attacked the content creators. He also said that some of those content creators was in the room. He said that, yes. Now, mind you, I had one of the officers tell me this morning that, yeah, everything on your page is pink. I had one of the officers tell me that this morning. The same officer that kicked me out the very first day of trial.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
You're known for wearing pink every day, just to give the audience some context. That's one of the things that stand out. So that means they're following you
Yeah.
like white on rice, right?
Yes, yes. And today after the recusal was granted, everybody went out and we all coming out the courtroom and we shouting and we chanting. And then after that, I had everyone to gather in front of the courthouse and we chanted for Carmelo, and we also chanted for saying happy birthday to Nolan. But Mel, I'm a national civil rights activist. I go to these courthouses. I show up for our people. I'm always boots on the ground. I'm not really a social media type person, so I don't really, get on camera and really talk. Like this is like not a comfort zone for me right here. It's out of my element. But when it comes down to justice, and if I feel like someone rights is being violated, I'm going to support that family. I'm going to support that individual. I'm going to show up and I'm going to stand in agreement and stand in solidarity with that individual to fight for justice. And that's what I did today, showing up for Carmelo Anthony. And I'll be back again tomorrow or however long it takes to get to whatever we need to get through to get this young man a fair trial. Prayerfully that is granted.
Well, I've witnessed you in action, and you're amazing at what you do. So thank you for sharing yourself with everyone because more people need to. I mean, the work you do is great because
Thank you.
I like to support your work.
Thank you
But
so much.
more of the younger generation need to see, and don't take this the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they see jugheads. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
guys, that's a southern term, jugheads.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to see more strong black women. And so when you pull up and you do your thing, guess what I heard about you?
What?
I heard you were leading the chants out there. I heard you was leading the
Of
pack.
course.
That was
That's my
you.
area.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness, you were the one that pulled up and got the crowd routed. Okay.
Of course, of course, and I think well when one of the officers came to me in the hallway before the Metcalfs came out, he came to me and he was like, "Yeah, you seem like you have influence on these people." He said, "Make sure that you tell them not to say anything to the victim's family or." Don't do anything that would make them get kicked out of the courthouse. Now there were two women that did get kicked out today. There was one that was recording in the halls. They kicked her out. And then there was another one that walked up to the victim's family and she hugged, first she hugged the mother and the officer told her no to go away. And then she turned around and she went in and she hugged Jeff. And so then after that, they ended up kicking her out. And she said
Oh
she was a
my.
supporter. Yeah.
Oh
Hmm.
wow. So
Yeah.
those were two women you said. Were there any men kicked out today?
No, no men kicked out today.
Oh
But the
wait.
people,
Wait a minute. I disagree. Judge
not that I
Judge
know of.
Judge Roach.
Oh yeah, well Judge Roach was. He's
I'm just
fighting
messing.
air right now. He's fighting air. Worski's fighting air, and I feel like Jeff Metcalf is fighting air too because I feel like he tried to be ugly by coming out in the hall this morning and laughing at the crowd, like as if y'all not gonna get a recusal today. We even had one. There was one guy this morning when we was standing out on the sidewalk that yelled at us, "Go home."
What?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Said go
Yes.
home.
He told us go home. When I tell you the presence was so full of African Americans, the presence was so full of African Americans today.
Really?
Yes, at least 75% of the courtroom was packed with us. And even on the in the other room, it was all of us in there.
Really? So family
Yes.
reunion, huh? Wow.
The people showed up today. I
Yeah.
feel like they answered the call that Drew put out, requesting that everybody show up and to put in those sick leaves and all of that. Yeah, the people showed up today.
Wow, that's amazing. Was there any agitators? Because I know for the trial, we had some guys out there that were trying to, get the show started in a negative way. Nothing?
I know agitators besides the guy telling us to go home, and again, Mr. Metcalf laughing and antagonizing Carmelo supporters.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Last time in the parking lot you had, I don't want to say his name, I'll just say JL. He was out
yeah.
there. I think he got
Mhm.
arrested, so
He
he didn't get
did. Mhm.
no.
I Now there was a brother that had got arrested the last time, and I seen he was there supporting today as well.
He was on the stream earlier today with Remedy, I believe. I think
Oh,
that was
okay.
him. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah. I seen a
okay.
lot of faces that was there for trial that were there again today.
Okay, well, that's good. What do you feel about tomorrow as we approach the discussion in regards to whether he gets a new trial?
The way that Russell delivers, I believe that it just may be a new trial.
What is it about the way he delivers?
He speaks so well. I talk fast. I'm from Louisiana, but he speaks so well. He's very kind. He's very kind to the judge as well. But it's like he knows what he's talking about, and when he speaks, he brings up law. He brings up facts, but he sticks to law. And I really like that about him.
That's
It like
amazing.
Yes, none of the other attorneys spoke at all. It was just Russell. And I feel like he did a great job in delivering, even though Worski tried to throw a slug at him for using the presentation.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I remember there were some times. Remember in the original trial when Eddie was on the stand
Mm-hmm.
and they were actually going through. I think it was. I think Shook. He was actually going through the different photos showing Eddie, like, "Hey, Eddie, you said you were only at the concession stand with Carmelo. Now we show you on the field with Carmelo, right? Remember those
Yes.
moments?" And
Yeah.
then Worski says, "I think we've had enough. I think we had like 7 photos." Worski's like,
Yeah.
"I think we've had enough of this." And the judge was like, "Yeah, I think so." Something like, "I think so too." And then
Yeah.
Shook says, "Okay, this is my last one." So,
Hmm.
so this is reminiscent of what we actually saw in the trial, right? Of him
Yeah.
pushing back on slides, right?
Yes. Yes. And I'm praying that this child do get a new trial. I'm praying that this child get a new trial because what we witnessed when we were there. It was a bunch of lies. You can see the inconsistencies.
Right, right.
And
Oh,
he
what?
needs somebody to fight for him. He needs somebody to work for him, and just not have him in the blind. Because today they brought up something about um Carmelo writing some kind of letters to everybody thanking them. So I don't know if that was something part of his prior attorney's plans to actually have him to write thank you letters to all these individuals after his trial. So Worski tried to make that like as if um Judge Roach did a excellent job because the young man wrote these thank you letters to everyone.
Oh, okay, I see. Let me
Hmm.
ask you this question in regards to this judge. What was your feelings about the judge?
I feel like I feel like his energy was fair. I felt like, he wasn't giving bias. Um, he was doing his job and he was listening, you know. Uh, he didn't give off any bad energy. He listened. I feel like he listened to the facts. And I also feel like I believe that the reason he granted that recusal was because Worski was given emotion, but Russell was given law.
Oh, okay, I see. That's
Hmm.
very intelligent, right? Let
Yeah.
me. I don't want to keep you too long, but I had another question for you.
Hmm.
When we sat through the actual trial, a lot of us felt. I think we even discussed it a little bit. You felt like his attorneys were handicapped in some way, like they really wasn't fighting hard.
Hmm.
Then we found out about a gentleman's deal. Do you surmise that this new team is going to accept a gentleman's deal if it goes to trial?
I don't think so.
Different type of attorneys, right?
Yeah. I think this team that he has here, they know that the world is watching, and they know that there's a lot of supporters, not only behind Carmelo, but behind them, and they're gonna do their best.
Well, that's all you can ask for is the best, right?
Yes.
Could you take
Hmm.
a moment and just tell everybody, because I see you traveling so much, a lot of people probably don't get a chance to pick that up. Can you tell us a little bit about your travels and your goals and so forth?
Well, as far as in the travel, again, I'm a national civil rights activist. I show up boots on the ground for families that face injustices. I feel like because I am a family member of a victim that didn't get justice, that it is my duty and my job to show up for other families and to be there to support them, to be their voices. Um, and a lot of people thank me about it. A lot of people thank me. A lot of people support me. Mel, even you support me, and I thank you so much. Um, But I think it's important for me to just show up and, I have a full-time job, but um, I feel like I have to show up. So when the call comes and when I have to go, the job goes on hold because this is where my heart is. My heart is with these victims, with these families that deserves justice, that deserves a fair trial, that deserves a chance. Um, and I just show up. I show up, you know.
That's that's so amazing. It's so amazing.
Yes, I've been there for Tyree Nichols, Jalen Randall, George Floyd, uh, Tyler Smith, Daniel Irving, Nolan Wells, Carmelo, and it's so many other cases. The White Celestine. It's so many other cases. I've been there for so many people, and I don't plan to stop. This is something that I enjoy doing. This is something that I love to do. I just love to show up for my people.
Okay, that's awesome. I don't want to tell your business, but recently you had some milestones that you accomplished. If you want to talk
Yes.
about it.
Well, I just graduated with my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Right now, I'm studying for the LSAT test, and then I plan to go to law school, and I plan to become a civil rights attorney. Thank
Amazing.
you.
See how amazing you are?
Thank you.
See, that's why you need to be out here. More people need to hear from you and see that you're operating at a very high level.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
appreciate you.
so tomorrow we hope we could have you back on. It would be so amazing to find out the updates from whether or not, I don't know if there will be an answer to tomorrow, but it would be nice just to hear from you.
No
And
problem.
be careful out there in line. I know you will.
I will, Mel. Thank you so
Thank,
much.
thank you. Oh, tell everybody, if you want to be followed, how they can support you or what have you, if you want to.
Okay, well, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. What else? TikTok as well. It's Miss Selena Charles, MSCELINA Charles. You could also go on www.purposeforthepeople.com, which is my website. And if you want to donate to my travels, you can Zelle me at CELINA Charles 104 at gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you very much. I definitely will, as
Thank you,
always.
Mel.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. My pleasure.
appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. I look forward to having you back on tomorrow.
Okay, be blessed.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Amazing, 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 folks. What do you have to say for that? Right. We have amazing people, boots on the ground, telling us about what happened today in court. We have a lot of trials coming up. Even with Nolan Wells, many of us are planning to do some activity there in the town. So that's something you can look forward to. A lot of people are not used to individuals showing up. Independent news actually coming to cover stories to give you a background view of what's happening in regards to these matters. Jack, I saw you in the audience. If you would like to come up and join the discussion, feel free. I sent the link to this show to your Instagram, so feel free to come up and tell us what your thoughts are in regards to Karmelo Anthony. All right, so we're going to get back to a few of the comments. Guys, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. It was nice having Selena Charles up here today talking about her life and how she's definitely making a difference and setting a great example for individuals, especially when it comes to others who are going through tough situations or cases that we find to be disparaged in some way. All right. Sophie says like, share, and subscribe. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see what Joe has to say. He says Mr. Anthony never claimed or expressed accidental harm. Standing on perfect self defense negates any and all imperfect defense claims. That's just how it is in the court of law. Okay. Matt says Mello had a right to defend himself and see what happened to Nolan. That's a good point, Matt. Thank you very much for bringing that out. We saw what happened to Nolan, right? So we can definitely understand your argument in this position. New Jerseyan says, Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Okay. And if Selena, if you're still there, Jazzy J says, I'm so proud of her. A lot of people actually reached out to in the chat to say congratulations, and they are so happy for your work, Selena. So keep up the great work. I see we have Deborah here today. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. We're going to have criminal defense attorney Calvin Johnson. He's supposed to be coming on a little bit later to talk about this case. But right now we have Jack Palmieri. He's a leading attorney, and it's always great to have him on the show. Listen, let me tell you guys something. I have to take a moment and tell you guys this. Watching the World is a channel that deals with the news. We also cover court cases. I actually attend court, take good notes, and I come back to try to articulate to you what's being said, right? I try to push back on false information. Like earlier, people are saying things about Karmelo Anthony that's not true. In fact, we can actually substantiate it by looking at videos and other information. But what I want to say to you, for us to have an attorney come up during the show right now and actually join and help us to understand the case from a legal point of view, I think that's amazing, right? I think it's beautiful to have Jack just out of his busy day in court to step aside and come on to Watching the World, and we get a chance to hear from him now. And I'm humbled by the opportunity. Let's go. Jack, how are you?
I'm very well. Mel, how much do I owe you for all that? That was just wildly humbling. You are too kind. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you for that intro. I'm only here because of what you do, because of what you do personally, professionally. I only get to be here because you put in the time and the effort and have your boots on the ground. So I, on behalf of your audience, thank you for what you do. So I'm just happy to be a part of it, man. Thank you for having me as always.
All right. So, what are your thoughts in regards to Carmelo Anthony's case from the perspective of a criminal defense attorney?
Yeah, today was huge. I am ecstatic for Carmelo. I'm ecstatic for his team. I'm ecstatic for how wrongly I think the trial went up to this point. This is from a criminal law, from a criminal defense standpoint, this is was the best result possible for today and just strengthens tomorrow. I think this judge was way out of line, going on his own public press tour, knowing that the case he presided over, that notices of appeal had already been filed out the gate. For him to be giving his opinion on this case, wildly inappropriate, definitely raised a lot of legitimate concerns. And you always put the interests of the accused at the forefront in a criminal case. So this was the right outcome and really bolsters tomorrow's argument for a retrial.
Okay. When the actual trial was happening in regards to this case, did you expect it to go the way it did?
I did, based on how the trial went. I was not happy with the outcome, and I wasn't surprised with the outcome. Um, I would have liked to seen more energy out of the defense. We knew going into this trial that Carmelo had a tremendously uphill battle, right? It wasn't in dispute whether or not a homicide had been committed. It was in dispute whether or not Carmelo had a legal defense, a legal right to stand his ground and to use legal self-defense. I would have liked to have seen a lot more out of the defense. I would like to have seen experts, reconstructionists. I would like to see more anger, more just leaving it all in the ring. I don't mean to talk down. Obviously, I wasn't the trial attorney at the time. It's easy for me to Monday morning quarterback, but it's only the man's life that's on the line, and he's all of 18, 19, 20 years old. You gotta bring the emotion in a case like this.
Let me ask you this. After covering the trial, have you ever seen a situation where a person is found guilty, sentenced, and his hair cut within 24 hours?
So that typically happens for Department of Corrections. That will happen to those who are either convicted or have a long-term plea deal in place. They do it under the guise of for sanitary reasons, for health conditions, because they don't want hair to bring in lice and other germs. You do see this predominantly affect African Americans more than other races, especially those who keep hair long for certain religious purposes. So I do see that in place. We don't get to see this much because we don't see people after they're convicted normally. Doesn't happen with the women. So no one was giving Carmelo the benefit of that he would get a retrial. They were treating him as a convicted felon.
Wow, man. You know, in this case, I sat through it each day, and the one thing I noticed is that the defense seemed like they were handicapped. They were not giving it their all. Seemed like something was wrong. Then I found out about a gentleman's deal. Do you hear a lot about gentleman's deal?
Well, I've heard, so I know the concept. So ideally, um, if you have a rapport with opposing counsel, so if a rapport with the prosecutor, and you have some agreement, or you say heads up, this is what I'm going to do, not do, or I'm not going to rely on that, that is well and good, and that's worth the paper it's not even printed on. It's not legally binding. That's the core issue. And as a defense attorney, you have to know, okay, I'm giving you my word, but if they change their mind, they can, and they've done nothing wrong. In fact, I think the defense attorney made a disastrous error in overly relying on it because they shouldn't have. You know, this is the equivalent of if you have two MMA fighters, two mixed martial artists, they go into a ring, it's the main event, and they have a gentleman's agreement that we're not going to take it to the ground. We're going to keep this standing. And then the one fighter who you know is a grappler goes in for a shoot and takes it to the ground. Well, he had a gentleman's agreement. What he had was an obligation to win. He had an obligation to win, and he made this gentleman's agreement that means nothing, right? There's no consequence to breaking it. Oh, so I broke my unofficial word to you. We're not friends anymore. I'm trying to win here. You're trying to make sure a man is not convicted of murder. You don't rely on a gentleman's agreement. You get something in writing. You get an email. You get a correspondence. We're not going to be introducing this and why. That was so just ill-advised. I would not do that unless I really, really had a great rapport with the prosecutor. And even then, I'm going to look for an assurance somewhere. I want a receipt. I want something because this agreement is fine, but I have an obligation, a commitment to Carmelo that has to be front and foremost at all times.
When you have a case like Carmelo Anthony of such magnitude, is it fair to say that the judge just wanted maybe a little shine? That's why he did the interview afterward, because of the magnitude of the case?
I think it's very fair to say that, and I think that's exactly what he wanted at the least. He was looking for his 15 minutes of fame. This was a judge that clearly had in his mind, I'm the judge presiding over the Carmelo Anthony case. I'm going to get my book deal. I'm going to do my press tour. I'm going to retire at some point and go into private practice. I'm going to be that judge. And he wanted to make sure his name stayed in the press while the case was hot and while it was still relevant. And that was wildly selfish. That was wildly ill-advised on his part. And it rightfully came back to haunt him because it shows maybe he did have preconceived notions. Maybe he did have this case determined in his head. Maybe he wasn't focused on this case. You have one job as a judge. You have a responsibility you took on to call balls and strikes, and that's it, right? You never see prosecutors go on TV after a case and make a comment other than, we respect the justice system, we respect the decision of the jury, and that is it. You never hear a prosecutor say, whether they win or lose, I thought it was right or wrong. We respect the process. You're a judge. You're the privilege of being a judge. Okay, you don't take that for granted. And again, he knew, to think that he knew a notice of appeal was already filed and go and do this, it was so just egotistical. You had to get rid of him. You had to.
According to the judge in the interview, he stated that this would be his last year And I think this was his biggest case, right? So, do you think this is going to mar his legacy that his last biggest case has now caused him to be recused?
Sure, because if he had been wiser about this process, when the issue of recusal came up, knowing he was retiring, knowing he was looking to shine, he should have voluntarily agreed to recuse himself. Instead, he fought the issue. And now what has happened is you have a superior court, a superior judge say, factually and legally, we need to recuse you. You don't get to have that say anymore. We have concerns. You have brought a cloud over the justice system, and we cannot allow you to sit on any possible retrial. At his best day, this ends for him here. Or worse, he comes up for a judicial review, right? He comes up for some kind of censorship. He comes up with some kind of bar complaint. If he had been wise, if he had been smart, he would have said, you know what? The issue's been raised. The issue always was fair and legitimate. And you look at a recusal concern through the eyes of the defendant. Does the accused believe there is a concern he will not have a fair trial, and is that basis legitimate? The answer to both were so clearly yes by his own doing that it was only his hubris that allowed it to even get this far. Now you got a superior court judge saying, we think there was a problem.
Okay, so if you're Carmelo Anthony today and time, do you see any hope here as far as getting a new trial with a different ending?
Yes and yes. I think that no matter what happens here today, he always had a legitimate shot at tomorrow's motion for a retrial. I think today's decision only emboldens that. It only shows now not only is there a legitimate concern, but it was enough that we had to remove the judge in place. If that judge had a possible preconceived bias, which we cannot rule out, then everything he did subsequent to that is also tainted. It's like a fruit of the poisonous tree argument. If the judge is tainted, everything he did subsequent is tainted. The decisions he made with jury instructions is tainted. His evidentiary rulings are tainted. We can't know now for sure, to the benefit of the accused, that everything he did was unbiased and unprejudiced. I think that on top of the jury instruction questions, the evidentiary rulings, this screams for a retrial. And now you have the defense, which will have a second chance to shore up whatever holes they ran into in the first trial. They get to just recalculate everything. There'll be no gentlemen's agreements this time around. I promise you that, right? They're going to fight tooth and nail. You make a record of every issue. Set this up. It's rare to get a second chance. You won't get a third, right? You shore up the case. You go hard out the gate. You leave nothing to chance. You leave no one gets a free pass that can go around.
Okay, my last question for you. I went out to Nancy Guthrie's home, standing out in front of her house for 2 weeks. The mainstream media told all of us who are independent media to get lost, right? Down in Texas, the courthouse is pushing back so much today that Worski, the prosecution's attorney, basically said, listen, there are people that are covering the case and spreading this and that about the news. Do you see independent media as a force for good or a force for bad when it comes to cases pushing back with a different narrative or maybe a different point of view from the mainstream media?
I think the independent media, journalists like yourself, are the harbinger for truth. And then whether you feel about truth will dictate if you think that people like yourself are good or bad. I think the independent media is the only reliable media now because they are coming with no legacy ties to an agenda, with no legacy ties to an administration. You have the independent media who what makes them distinct, what makes people like yourself so great is the objectivity, the resilience to be transparent. And that's what legacy media lost a long time ago by their own undoing. So they are rightfully scared because they are their history. They are the dinosaurs. Their way, they refuse to change. They deserve to die out because of it. And listen, everyone looks to, fight the fight. No one wants to go into that good night softly. So they're going to push back against you. And because you're going to replace them, you should. I only go to independent media now if I want transparency to let me decide how I feel about the news. Not let the news just tell me how I should feel or how I should view an event. So they're right to be scared, but they're not going to stop it. That train already left. They can only hold you at the door for so long. You're coming in.
Jack, you're so amazing. It's great to have you on. Could you take a moment to tell everybody how to follow you and so forth?
They should follow me on your show. Come into your show and watch me. Follow me here. But if I'm not here, I'm on all the major social media, Jack Palmieri Law. My information is there. I welcome your audience to give me what they think of me or my opinions. I read the comments. I appreciate, like what we have here, I appreciate the dialogue. The dialogue is what makes this relevant and important. You don't have to agree with me, but we can talk civilized and I can always learn something. And I'm in the South Florida area, so if anyone needs me down here, the next time you come down here and cover a case, first coffee's on me.
All right. Well, guess what? We become kings on Facebook and Instagram and all these platforms. Definitely with the way you cut up videos and you style it. I like it. Thank you.
I appreciate you as well. So I'm looking forward to get a case down here and then I can come and rub elbows with you.
All right. I look forward to it. Thanks for coming on. I'll see you soon.
I look forward to it, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. All right. So there you have it, guys. We had a chance to hear from Jack in regards to this amazing day in regards to the defense for Karmelo Anthony, right? And we also had quite a few individuals on today to talk about this case from a perspective of a person that's actually in the courtroom. And we also spoke to a remedy who was in the overflow room, right? So we covered this case solid. It's so amazing to have amazing people here at Watching the World. To top it off, we had a top-notch attorney come on and give us a legal perspective, unlike people that are just pushing narratives and information without having the law degree. We tried to raise the bar and give you some high power information, right? And I think Jack really drove the point home. He hit the home run for us today as far as covering Karmelo Anthony. I'd like to ask you guys to take a moment, hit the like button, share, and subscribe. We're going to be back on today. I'm going to interview an individual that's right there that knew Nolan Wells, and he's been all over social media getting pushback, but also he's making solid points in regards to what may have happened to Nolan Wells. We're definitely going to cover both of these cases quite well. And as new information comes out, we're definitely going to try to keep it honest and keep it right before your eyes so that you don't forget about the important cases, the cases that matter the most, right? So I just want to say before we leave, is that it's amazing whenever we have people that feel the need to come on Watching the World to state their claim. And today we had eyewitnesses from the court case, right? We also have, in fact, both of the individuals that came on today, I actually covered the main trial with them. In many cases, we were sitting together in the courtroom, taking great notes and telling you all about the Karmelo Anthony case. I think when it comes to as far as a black male, right, independent, I was the only person from a male perspective that sat in court every day and heard the prosecution's witnesses, all of those kids come in and tell you what they saw and heard under the tent and beyond in regards to Karmelo Anthony. So I get people that come in and they try to tell me about the case that were not in the courtroom. I'm always open for new perspectives, but I sat in the courtroom and I saw the video. In that video, Karmelo Anthony walked in after the twins. And a lot of people are pushing the narrative that Karmelo was already there. You know why they pushed that narrative? Number one, they were not in court. But number two, they're looking at a TikTok video of some guy sitting out in Kalamazoo. He shows you a 1 minute video, and there's a dark blur when the boys walk into the tent, and he says, "Oh, that's Karmelo right there, the little black blob." And then when I come along and I show you what we actually learned in court, right? That the twins actually walked into the tent, and then Karmelo came in and sat down behind them. You know why that's so important? It's very important to know that because when I showed you the video of Karmelo being struck by two different individuals, right? The fact that Carmelo's sitting behind Hunter, it really shows you how Hunter was actually turned around, engaging with Karmelo at the same time that Austin came over and he attacked Karmelo too. You see? So it's very important to understand people, places, and things when you're covering the case. People twist the facts. In fact, if you go to the courtroom transcript, you're going to see they actually stated in court during the opening arguments that the twins came into the tent, and then Karmelo walks in 2 minutes later and he takes a beeline to sit down behind Hunter. Okay, that's basically how the day transpired. But it ended with two guys actually engaging with Karmelo. Okay, you could actually see it in the video. You could understand what's happening. And we know how the story ended. And we know how the verdict came through and that Karmelo is sitting on 35 years. Today was all about setting the stage for Karmelo to try to fight against the 35 years that he received. Now, I want to make it very clear. I'm not here to talk about the whole knife deal, the stabbing. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm simply here to talk about what I witnessed in court. And that's where my contention comes in. After I covered so many court cases, I sat through Karmelo's trial, and immediately, just like the other individuals that came in and attested to, we immediately began to realize something was not right about the case, right? That's only fair to say, okay? Am I here to talk about the 35 years? That's very meaningful, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to tell you that during this trial, we noted that there was something not right and it did not align with what I typically see when I cover cases in court. That's what the focus is. And so today was very instrumental when it comes to Karmelo per se. We don't know where this is going to end, right? We do know that if he receive a new trial, just based on the system, based on the verdict, he could get more time, he could get less time. That's what we do know. Okay, that's on the table. You might as well face the facts, right? Just being objective. He could face more time, less time. But this time around, minus a gentleman's deal, he has 5 attorneys. Many are calling them a dream team. Perhaps this time around, if he's granted tomorrow a new trial, then perhaps that puts him on a track that most people are starting to say, we don't want to see him get less time. We want to see him get more time. If you look at my post on Facebook, Instagram, people all day long, I get the notifications. Oh, lock him up more. Some people say the extreme. He should have actually lost his life. It goes on all day long, right? Even on YouTube, I have to deal with the knuckleheads that have their own perspective, but it is what it is. That's just the way the life goes. That's the nature of the beast, right? But it's quite likely that we're going to see a big difference in the ending of Karmelo Anthony's case if he's granted a new trial. Because more than likely, it's going to set the stage for this time around to take a plea deal. This time around, go to the jury for a verdict and they don't say 35, let's say they say 5. Or this time around, new evidence comes out and he walks away a free man. These are all of the type of scenarios, even though a lot of people online that I interact with every day say, give him 99 years, give him the max. In fact, yesterday I had an individual say, yeah, we hope this time around he can get, I don't want to say, but you get it, right? The extreme of losing his life. They wanted to go that far on this time around. These are the different objectives that everybody has according to their experience in life and what they want for Karmelo. But what's clear today, and based on what you saw from the dear ladies that came on, and give them a hand clap or two or three, 1,000, because they came up and they spoke well. And they were able to recant the things seen and heard today in court. And I think it's beautiful to be able to hear from people who don't work for a big, I don't want to say the name of these networks, right? But in order to get paid, you have to toe the line. You have to say what they say you have to say. But to get a chance to hear from individuals that are mothers, their sisters, their aunties, there's so much more, right? And they get a chance to tell you what they observed today in court. From both aspects, we had the main courtroom covered and we had the overflow covered. And we're going to have that covered tomorrow too. So make sure you tune back in, because tomorrow is going to be a very defining day. Although I don't think we'll have an answer as far as whether he gets a new trial tomorrow. But I think we'll have a good feel, because this time around, I want you to know this. You need to spread the word that Russell Wilson, one of the key attorneys speaking up on behalf of Karmelo Anthony, he's setting the stage for a lot of people's blood pressure to go up. We need to keep that in mind, because if what we know about Russell Wilson is that he's the best when it comes to appeals, he actually teaches appeals in that state. And so if he does get a reasonable, fair decision to put on a new trial, believe you me, it's going to be a new scenario, and some people's pressure is going to go through the roof when they find out that Karmelo Anthony may have a different future, quite different than what many people wanted for him, because of the fairness of the trial. Let me tell you my personal experience, right? And I don't want to get banned from courthouses. I'm not in the business to do that. But I'm going to tell you, for the last month, I had been trying to contact the courthouse down in Collin County, and I'd been speaking. They send me over to a guy. I leave him messages religiously, right? Before I go live, I reach out to them. I can show you a trail of calls. They also gave me a female to call. I call her, call. They get frustrated with me calling so much because I'm just trying to get media access to attend Karmelo's trial or his hearing these 2 days. So I started calling so much, I guess they started just answering the phone and hanging up. So I could rightly assume they have caller ID. So finally yesterday, I reach out to him again, says, no, 2 days ago, I says on Monday, I says, I'm really trying to get into the main courtroom as media. I heard this time around there's going to be a change. Like Sam Cooke says, it's been a long time coming, but I know a change is going to come. And they said, oh, we have a new guy now that he is over allowing the media to come in. I reach out to him. I says, listen, man, I've been trying to get a hold of you guys for a month. I'm trying to get into the courtroom. He says, oh, the cutoff was last week. And that was it. I said, the cutoff is last week. I had to get back at him. I said, listen, the cutoff is last week, but these are all the emails that I've been sending. I've been calling, sending emails. I got no more response. And that is my response. Why is it that today, one of the ladies says, it looks like they only had the same media that was there the last time. So you see how this is working? It's the same old game, Why is that the case, right? I tried for a month. I have every call, I have every email, no response, right? No response. Then when I finally get through to a guy, he says, oh, you're a week late and $1 short. So I just keep it moving. But this is the situation. This is what they're talking about when they're asking for this new trial. And this is why I think it's going to be very likely that he's going to get a new trial. And with that new trial, this time around, there won't be a gentleman's deal. So brace yourself when you find out what this could mean in regards to Karmelo Anthony. I think a change is going to happen in this case. And those that are already bent on their facts are going to see something quite different if tomorrow is favorable. Also, in the case of Nolan Wells, I think a lot of people are setting themselves up for a disaster, just thinking certain things are going to happen in the case. Well, don't be too surprised. Don't cause your pressure to get too high when you realize that things don't always go the way you wish. All right. Thank you so much today, guys. I really do appreciate it. It's a lot of work that goes into doing this. It could be much easier if I had some sort of sponsor, right? Right. If I had a big sponsor, it would make life easier. But the first thing they're going to say is, you can't say what you want to. Oh, no. Oh, no. You can keep your money, right? You can keep your money. I'm just fine. You follow? If you want to buy my message, it's not for sale, because this is the reason why I position myself in life, so I could do this uninhibited and without waiting on somebody else to give me permission. I don't take too kindly to that. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today. At 5:30, make sure you tune in Eastern Standard Time. We're going to interview a guy in regards to Nolan Wells. Then tomorrow, we're going to be back at it covering Karmelo Anthony at a high level. You'll have a chance to hear from individuals that are in the courtroom. And also, to top it off, we'll have attorneys such as Jack back in the building to really give us a summation of the case, and not only the case, of the day. It's amazing that Jack took the time to tune in and watch the show today, Watching the World. And he's a high caliber attorney. And then he felt the need to come up and tell you guys, this is, from the legal perspective in regards to the case. It doesn't get much better than that, right? It doesn't, right? We have eyewitnesses in both courtrooms today. And we had an attorney that's a heavy hitter, right? That's all I'm going to say. And then I'm just here to keep the band going, right? Play that tune, right? Sing that song. And as Deborah would say in New Jersey, and they say, Mel, play that song.
Watching from the window as the rain begins to fall. Different streets, but we're walking through it all. You carry your story and I carry mine, but the weight feels the same when we stand in line. And I know we don't look the same, but I hear you calling my name, standing together, watching the world go around, standing together. We won't let it tear us down. Your hands know a language mine never learned, but the fire inside us both still burns. Different colors painted on the same old sky. Every shade is beautiful if you just look twice. And I know we don't sound the same, but I feel you calling my name, standing together, watching the world go around, standing together. We won't let it tear us down, standing together. Differences keep us strong, standing together. This is where we belong. Nobody said it would be easy to see through another man's eyes, but the love that we keep building is worth every compromise. Standing together, watching the world go round, standing together. We won't let it tear us down. Standing together, our differences keep us